Hi everybody, how you doing? I just want to talk fast because all this is just coming to my brain right now. I want to talk about my favorite movie in the entire world, Avatar. That movie, when that came out, oh my goodness, I went to the movie theater 4 times to see that thing, okay, in 3D IMAX, all right. I was there. So yeah, I love that movie, and I just really quick want to talk about some of like the symbolism I noticed, or like basically some synchronicities between that life and, you know, the life that we're really supposed to live. First I just want to go to Jack Sully, or Jake Sully. I'm sorry, I said Jack. Jake Sully, he is the white boy that was in the wheelchair. And he went over to Pandora, and you know that he had to take over his twin brother's, you know, body, or his avatar, because his twin brother died, and he was only able to do it because they had the same DNA. Blah 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 blah. What I really wanted to talk about, the main similarity, is how basically what we were taught growing up is affecting how we're perceiving this reality, and I think because so many people are thinking a certain way, that's why the world is how it is. Okay, so because we are all connected, you know, I mean, we're all connected. It's just when these physical bodies make it seem like we're not. And I know I go back and forth sometimes myself. Like I'm just like, ooh, I gotta be an individual, and I'm still on that path. I have to do things individually before I can make myself part of the whole. I just have to spend that time alone. That's just what I have to do. But basically, our perception of reality. One thing that we think, and I keep thinking about this thing that Frank Ocean said. That's why, and I might get the quote wrong, but it was something Frank Ocean said, something like, "How do you know that when we're sleeping, it's not reality, or how do you know that when we're awake, that's not the real dream?" Or something like that. If you've seen that quote or something, you'll know what I'm talking about. But for Frank Ocean, he said something like that, and now that I'm thinking, it really made me go back to Avatar. Like, I keep thinking about Avatar so much lately. That's my favorite movie in the entire world. It's almost like a perfect movie. And so I go back into how Jake Sully, in order to, you know, go and, you know, get in with the people, and, you know, to fall in love with Neytiri and all that stuff, he always had to go into that machine which, you know, was total darkness, complete darkness. They had to close the hood and stuff like that, and whatever. They only showed those lights and stuff on the inside so that we could see, but it was dark up in there. But he had to go into complete darkness, close his eyes and everything, and then it always showed him traveling. Like, it always showed the little tube or whatever to go into, and then his avatar body woke up. That is the life that we're living here on this earth. I'm sorry to just say it like that, but that's the truth. When we wake up every day, and this just came to me like 5 minutes ago even, when we wake up every day, it's like, for me, it's like, oh, here I go. It's ready to go live this, you know, physical life. You know what I mean? Like, okay, here I go again, like another day, you know? And when we go to sleep, that should be where we're living the most, because our consciousness exists outside the body, and the body itself only operates when we're awake, when we're turned on. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because that's basically, I mean, if everybody thought that way, then we wouldn't take this physical realm so seriously. And that's the problem. We take this physical realm too seriously. I was saying before that, like, everybody, all the religion and all the teachings are so worried about the external. And that's why I say, no, we need to stop learning about that. The external is a game. The external is a game. Like, I used to play The Sims when I was in junior high school, in elementary school, and like high school. I used to play The Sims. I loved The Sims. And I would, every single time, it's just crazy, because when I would make my character, I used to have like crushes, like on the little boys in school, you know. And Every time I would, make a little house or make a little family, I would just make myself with each of my crushes, and that was like a different family. So those were all different realities. And I could just go on to each family whenever I want to. It's crazy. Like, I mean, it's fun, and that was fun for me, but I realized that was fun for me because I can do that here too, because that's all this is. We're living in the third dimension when we wake up, but don't you understand that there's more than just the third dimension? I mean, come on now. Everybody understands that, I think, right? Everybody understands that. Everybody has to understand that. I don't know. I just, Avatar, the greatest movie like ever. If we just understood that when we wake up every morning, we're waking up to go play. What we do in the third dimension, in the dimension that we're living in, should be beneficial to our souls that operate in the other dimensions and in the higher dimensions. Does that make sense? That's my understanding so far. So I just wanted to say that real quick. Another thing about Avatar was how they could connect to the Tree of Souls. I mean, good gracious, there is so much symbolism. I love that movie so much. It really represents us. And when I say us, I mean people that look like me, melanin represent. And I mean, it applies to everybody too, but I'm just saying we have a higher concentration of melanin in our skin, which has a higher concentration of the other elements. I'm just going to say that for now. So I'm saying everything in a way that's easy to understand, because what I've learned has to be simplified. It has to be. It just has to be. Avatar. So they got infiltrated. Jake Sully, he made it seem like he was their friend and stuff, but really he ended up backstabbing them. I mean, he did. I mean, he was a backstabber. He could say he loved Nateri all he wanted, but he lied. He's a liar. And that really represents what happened to really all the indigenous peoples everywhere. But anyways, that's not even the point. The point is about the dimensions. The Tree of Souls allows the people allowed the Navi to connect with the little braid, with their, braid that was probably connected to their crown chakra somehow. But they could connect to the Tree of Souls, and then they would say, like, you can hear the ancestors, you can hear the voices, you can hear everything, because it's a collective consciousness. Does that make sense? It's a collective consciousness, and that's what we should be trying to reach. I'm gonna put a link down. I'm gonna put a link down below this video to a simple breakdown of the 13 dimensions. Some people say there's only like 11, and some people say there's 12. I guess some people say there's more than 13. I don't know all that. I just started studying that, so I'm gonna share what I've learned now so far, and that link just kind of gives an overview of the different dimensions. And for me, it makes a lot of sense. I follow the stuff that makes sense, and I study the stuff that makes sense so that my life can come together. And when I read about the dimensions, I have real life examples from each one. So yeah, going outside that realm, like I said, I'm way past, the rules and regulations and following a book. The Bible, when you watch, like, I noticed in television, like on all these different like TV shows and movies, I noticed that they all had like a sacred book. I've been watching the old school Charmed. I've always loved that ever since I was a little girl. I've been watching that. They got the Book of Shadows. In Supernatural, they have like their dad's journal. What else? I was watching The Sorcerer's Apprentice. He had the guard. I don't remember what his book was called, but he pulled it out of his pocket and it was like this big, and then he unfolded it and it turned out to be like massive, like a huge, gigantic book. So, everybody has a book. And for me, or for the people like me, I believe that at least the Bible is at least one of those books. That's what I think. I can always refer to the Bible because I started reading it. I stopped reading it from this physical 3D perspective because this is a lesser perspective. I mean, like, it just is. The Bible is a spiritual book, so everything in the book is from a spiritual perspective. Using three-dimensional symbolism so that we can get a better understanding, because that's what we understand in this realm. We understand what we can see and what we can visualize, like, as things that exist in this world. That's part of being part of this dimension and existing in this dimension. So my main thing about this video is when we go in, just think about how he goes in order to activate his avatar body, his body that interacted with, you know, the love of his life and with the people, and learning to fly on those crazy banshee, and, you know, being you know, Taruk Maktau, you know, and getting that big one. All of that he did when his physical body was asleep and his eyes were closed. And he was like in, you could call it dreamland, but it's not really dreamland. It's just a realer reality. A reality that lasts longer. Does that make sense? Because this physical reality, this 3D one, lasts, you know, 60, 70, 80, 100 years if you're lucky. But in the other dimensions, you know, the soul is eternal. So that's what we need to be taking care of. And what happens in this third dimension should always be to the benefit of our eternal soul. That's what I think. But yeah, when we wake up in the morning and we're going off into this life that we have, we shouldn't be so crazy. And the Bible says it over and over and over. And just the verse of the day. I got the verse of the day, right? I got the verse of the day because I had the Bible app. Let me read it. It's so simple. Let me see. It says, set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. Colossians 3:2. Okay. That was the verse of the day. So I'm just saying, the Bible says over and over and over again, like, don't worry about the flesh. It's not about the flesh. Like, this is not about the flesh. I'm telling you. The book says over and over and over and over again. And then people stay worried about the flesh every day. And I'm not saying don't ever worry about your flesh. I'm not saying that. I'm saying take better care of your spirit and your soul. Take better care of that. Spend more time in darkness than you do in this crazy life. Like, if you have to meditate, which I guess a lot of people really don't do, but really need to do, when you meditate, you know, close your eyes, enter into the darkness, spend your time, because you know what happens when you do that? Your consciousness gets to working, because it gets bored of just that darkness and just nothing being there. It starts getting creative. Okay? That's how you get the wheels turning, you know what I mean? So I just want to tell everybody, you know, to maybe, if you haven't seen that movie Avatar, watch that movie. I don't know how anyone could criticize that movie. Amazing movie. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, another thing, the native people, they were all, to me, even when I saw that movie when I was in high school, they was like, okay, these are all black people. Like, their features are like black people features. Like, I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Like, that's, I know we on Pandora or whatever, but they look like black people to me. And I know they're blue, but they look like black people to me. And then when I went to the behind the scenes, because I'm telling you, I love that movie. I had to learn everything about it. When I went to the behind the scenes, I saw that the people that were playing the blue people were indeed black people. So, or majority black people, I should say. So, yeah. If you haven't seen that movie, go watch that movie, and just remember that this earth realm, the destruction even that's coming, like, don't trip so much. Just get your soul prepared so you can ascend. When you lose this physical body, you can prepare yourself. You'll know what to do. You'll know the process. You'll know the steps, so that you can go sit on the right hand. You know what I mean? The creator. You know what I mean? That's just what you gotta do. You gotta have consciousness after death. You can't just die and just hope somebody's gonna pick you up and scoop you up and like just take care of you. Like, nah, you gotta have consciousness even after death. So just wanted to say that real quick. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye.